So from past 2 days, I've been doing a lot of tinkering with the different skills inside the game for wizard class, different essence, different skills, trying to find the highest single target damage builds for the wizard class using some of the newer legendary items that came out with the last update. And I'm happy to report that the builds that I will be sharing here with you guys is going to be the new meta when it comes to dealing the highest single target damage, and these builds are going to be really good for dungeons and raid bosses. And if that sounds interesting to you, let's dive into the skills and the builds right away. And I will be starting with the pros and cons of the builds first before we go any further, so you guys know what we are getting into. So as for the pros, these builds will be dealing the highest single target damage, and you will be pretty tanky as well, since we will be using the ice armor, and you can get close and personal with the enemies and deal damage using your primary attack and skill. So that is going to be pretty fun for people able to use the ice armor. And then these builds are going to be easy to play on the touch screen as well, since we are not using the disintegrate. I have seen many people saying that disintegrate is not so easy to use on the mobile devices or even on the iPad. So with these builds, you don't need to aim the disintegrate at the enemy and just use your skills. And then these builds are going to be best now in raids and dungeons, like I said before. And last, the builds that we are using will have really nice range and really nice AoE attacks as well. The skills will have big AoE attack, and the primary attack have a really high range. And as for some of the cons, we are not using the teleport, so not that much mobility, but in dungeons and raids you don't need the teleport all that much. But the second con here is going to be that we will be lacking some crowd control abilities, so you won't able to like do so much crowd control with the builds here. And then not great for the challenge rift. In challenge rift, since we are lacking the crowd control, these builds are not going to be all that great, even though we have the highest damage, and these builds are not for the PvP. And now the pros and the cons is out of the way. Let's go into some of the free to play gems, which I call starter gems, and then I will be talking about the pay to win gems, which will be the best gems for the current builds that I will be sharing here with you guys. Alright, so for the starter gems or the free to play gems, the first one we will be using is going to be 2-star Fireman Fang, the best 2-star gem inside the game, increase your damage, and this is going to help you against the single target even more. And the second gem that we will be using is going to be Bloody Reach, another 2-star gem. The more distance between you and the enemy, the more damage you will deal to them. And the third gem that we will be using is going to be Power and Command, another 2-star gem. Since we will be spamming our skills and the primary at the same time, doesn't matter which bonus you will be receiving at the time, you will have a bonus coming from this gem at all times. And then we are using another 2-star legendary gem, Lightning Core. Never thought I would recommend this gem, but this gem is going to be really nice with the builds that we're using. It charges up when you are moving or using your primary attack, and since we spamming our primary attack at 60% attack speed at all times, this is going to charge up pretty fast. And then as for the last two gems, we are using 1-star Berserker Eye, gives you flat damage, awesome gem. And then as for the last gem, we are using the Everlasting Torment, another really good gem. It will put enemies on bleed, and it will also increase the primary attack speed for you when they are bleeding. So really good gem right there. And now let's go and look into the pay to win best gems, which will work really well with the builds that I'm sharing here with you guys. The first one is going to be Blood Soaked Jade, increase your movement speed and the damage. The second one is going to be Seeping Bile, apply poison to the enemy and spread and deal damage. Then we are using the Portaled Hope, again will increase your damage and movement speed when it gets triggered, and this gem will be getting triggered with the builds. And then we are using the blessing with the Vodi. We will be getting close and personal since we're using the ice armor, and so this is going to deal a lot of damage. And then we are using the howler goal. We are spamming primary attack, and this will be triggering every 20 seconds, dealing huge damage. And at the end, we will be using the frozen heart that will give us another layer of shield, give you some more tankiness over the ice armor, and you can just stand and keep spamming the primary attack. So these are the gems I would recommend with the builds. And as for the Paragon tree, you can either go with the Mastermind or the Duelist. I would personally recommend going with the Duelist. In my opinion, much better tree now, gives you critical hit chance damage, and in my opinion, much better. And you can see which skills I am recommending with the tick marks as well on this screen. And on Mastermind, I have one skill cross that you don't need to get, so save your points, Paragon points, on the Mastermind. And next, as for the set items, which set items we will be using, you can see 4 pieces of Vitus is what I would recommend going with the builds here. And if you're asking why Vitus and not Shal Boss, reason is pretty simple. We can keep the attack speed up at all times at 60%, and this is also going to increase the duration of our ice armor by 60%. And if we are using a bottled hope and a frozen heart, it is going to increase the duration of those gems as well. So going with the Vitus is what I would recommend. And then I would recommend going with 2 pieces of Grace of the Flagellant and not Shalbas again, because Shalbas would only increase 15% damage for the primary attack. But with the 2 pieces of Grace of the Flagellant, it is going to increase the damage of every single skill that we will be using. It will have 15% increased damage, and I would take the skill damage over the more primary attack damage, because we have to deal with the other monsters as well, killing them fast, since the primary attack is not going to be all that effective. So we have to have some damage on skills as well, so we can deal with the monsters. And next, let's get into the primary skill. The primary skill is going to be Magic Missile, and there is going to be one modification coming from the offhand blaster cast. Magic Missile fire 2 additional missiles, each dealing additional damage, and my mastery is, since maxed out, it is 90% increased damage. And as for the first skill, we will be using the Lightning Nova. It has 2 modifications done to it. The first one is coming from the chest piece, turning the Lightning Nova in fire. It has 6%. It has 6-second cooldown, so we can use this every 6 seconds and trigger the Vitus, and that is going to keep our attack speed up at all times. And then the second modification is coming from the main hand. Lightning Nova also increase your primary attack speed by 30% for 4.8 seconds, and this effect will never go away since we have Vitus. The 4.8 second duration is going to be over 7 seconds, so this effect will never be going away. We will be using Lightning Nova every 6 seconds, and you can keep up the 60% attack speed at all times, spamming the primary attack. And then the second skill here is going to be Scorch, and the modification is going to be from Headpiece, turning the skill into Magma. This is the only crowd control ability we have. If you get stuck, you can use the Magma, stun enemies, and get away. And then as for the third skill, we will be using Ice Armor. This will allow you to stand and just keep using your primary attack against the enemies, and this will also trigger the Vitus. So you see, you can always keep the attack speed up at all times. No need to worry about losing the buff of the attack speed. And as for the last skill, that is going to be the Meteor Strike, and it has 2 modifications done to it, and it has the biggest AoE attack in our arsenal here, and we have 19% damage increase from the shoulder piece. And then we are turning the skill into a Star Collar Breach. Meteor now continually damage enemies in the area but no longer stun. Meteor damage increased by 18%, and every single skill here will be getting another 15% damage buff from 2 pieces of Grace of the Fledgling. That is why I went with 2 pieces Grace of the Fledgling and 4 pieces of Ritus. And now I'll let you guys see some of the gameplay here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, as always, have fun and take care, guys.